Good evening, Vanguardians. This is Jonathan S.P. Mindham. Giving what is best described as the State of the Community address, I feel a little pun or mockery of our stuff that's going on in our, how they do the presidential address. I'm no by means the president, but I definitely feel that who I am and what I've tried to do for this community is the best to kind of address these issues. And many people probably go, well, what issues and what's going on? And I assure you, this is not an April Fool's joke. It is very much a real thing. It is very much just happens to fall on a day that is very funny or trickery. And I think it's actually appropriate that the address that I'm giving is on it today, because so far what I have felt from the community has been very much a joke at times, and maybe that's because of me and what I've done and the way things have been handled in many degrees. But I've always taken this game very seriously. I've dedicated a good deal of time to this game, and I feel today is the best day to do this. And I sat long and hard and really thought about what we as a community need and we as a community deserve. And anything I've ever done has always been for you as the community. And we're now entering into a state of this game that we've never seen before. I made a post about this a few days ago, and I said it's exciting. It's a very exciting notion that we are at a point in our game that is almost landmarkable. Like we have the ability to do what we want instead of following a meta that doesn't. It is set by someone else. We can form it. We can change it. We can do it ourselves. But this logic of thinking that we can do it, it needs to be grasped. We need to reach for it and do it ourselves. And I have a list of things here I wanted to talk about. And generally, like when I do like a word from the butler or things like that, like I've asked you for your questions. But now tonight, I'm going to make some statements, good or bad. Some people may love or hate them. But also at the same time, going and asking you to do a few things. It really has come down to a lot of these things where lately we have become more competitive. We as a community are at the first time where I feel like the game is taking off to the competitive scene that it needs. It's not just a end of the year thing where Bushiroad goes, we're going to have a national championship, best of 1, 20-minute rounds. No. We are now, because of things like ARG, KOC, and other local communities, this Final Cup, the events in New York, we are taking this game to be a little bit more serious. And for a long time, like our group was just kind of always very like, let's just play this game for fun. And as much as the game should be fun, we as a community need to also be competitive. And why I say that, and that's the first thing I'm going to come and address here, is a competitive scene. The other day, maybe no more than 2 weeks ago, I made a poll in the Vanguardians group saying, do you play this game for fun, or do you play this game competitively? And I gave competitive, fun, and other and as an option. And the overwhelming results was fun. Now, I play this game for fun just as much as I play this game as competitive. And right there, that statement that I just made is the mentality everyone should have. The game is fun. It should be fun. But if you're playing it just for fun, there's a notion or this idea is that you're doing it because you don't play the other games that are out there, Pokemon, Magic, and Yu-Gi-Oh! For fun. Because those games are deemed competitive. And people hate those games because of that sometimes. Now, history lesson here is Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and Magic, they've all been around since the 90s for multiple years. Been around and thriving. And some of the best games to this date are those games because of what they've done and set the trend for. And people get so upset that when we talk about Vanguard, they're like, oh my God, you're making this game into Yu-Gi-Oh! You're making this game into Magic. Well, you got to. You got to have both. You have to have competitive and fun. Like, you have to legitimately look at those games and go, what has made them successful? People play those games for fun, but their competitive scene is overwhelmingly successful. Magic you can play and make a living off of. Yu-Gi-Oh has been around so long, they've done so much, and for actually very little to no prizes for the overall state of things. And the biggest thing is when you look at those games, and you can look at our game, is yeah, they've been around for a lot longer, and they've had more cards and things like that and so forth, and they have a little bit of variant that allows it to be much more competitive. But now more than ever, we have major things happening. Tournaments organizations such as ARG taking off and taking our game and putting it with their Yu-Gi-Oh events and allowing it to grow. We've had record numbers for these organized tournaments. In New York, it was over 100 people. In Florida, we had about 100. Even in the middle of Kentucky, we had 30 to 40 people. Like, we are evolving and we're growing, and the game is getting bigger. And it's because of the mechanics that are being released. It is because of the things that we needed to make this game better are happening. We are now no longer like this small pebble in this big mountain. We are actually growing and expanding to such a degree where we, again, as the group and the community, need to start taking it to the next level and need to start taking the competitive scene and making it one. People like Robbie Cole, as much crap as Robbie Cole gets from our community, he's done a hell of a job in making it bigger and making a competitive scene, taking ARG and working with Jim and making a place for us to have a competitive 2 out of 3 format, which has never been done by any organization ever. And like, you sit there and we talk about ARG, and I still see people go, what's ARG? Read a post, read a book, Google it. Like, you'll soon find out that there's actually a competitive marketing out there. Currently coming up May 2nd, state tournaments are going to be happening from ARG. Like, we are actually at a point here where across the country, a variety of places are going to have a national tournament scene. Never been done before. Like, you and your, like, the people who are here and who play this game and who want that competitive scene, it's arriving. And those who play it for fun, you can go and have fun. You can go and participate in the side events. You can go and do these kind of things. But overall, the mentality is we are heading towards a competitive scene. And you, the people who play this game, you need to sit and go, am I going to keep playing this game for fun? If I'm going to keep playing it for fun, I'm only stunting the growth of the community. Because a true competitive scene creates people wanting to buy sets, wanting to buy boxes, packs, merchandise, whatever it may be, which then leads to a competitive atmosphere because people want to get back their investment that they put into this game. If you're playing for fun, you're not playing for the reason that one plays a card game. Like, you should always be able to go to your tournaments and go, oh, I want to have a fun day and have that atmosphere. But if you're just going, I'm going to collect the cards, I'm just going to play my friends, I'm not going to partake in these tournaments, I'm just going to sit on the sidelines, then you're hurting the game more than you are actually investing into it. Because what happens is, if we're buying the product and these stores are basically seeing that, oh, people are buying it and taking it, they're going to carry it more. Your locals are going to go, there's a demand now, I can start supplying that demand. And it is very much the mentality here is, if you look at Bushiroad keeps saying every set that they've released in like the first part of the year has been sold out. Like set 16, set 17, all these, the trial decks, they're all being sold out. So that's such a good mentality for our game, is that finally things are moving forward progressively. We are progressively moving forward, where sets are being sold out, where people are actually wanting to buy this stuff and actually create a competitive nature. And we have to start addressing that. We can't, the fun people can't start beating up on the competitive people, yelling at the people who go, oh, I want to play this game and I want to win at it. Well, and then you see the fun people going, God, stop that. You can't keep winning and playing. You can't have, you're not having fun. No, you're wrong. Because if you're playing it just to be competitive, yeah, there's an issue, because the game is very much a luck, and we'll get into that dynamic. But if you're playing it to have fun and competitiveness, it creates a better environment. We don't have to be Yu-Gi-Oh! We don't have to be Magic. You can have both. You can have a form of structure that has never been accomplished before, where we have both aspects because of what the game is and how it's played. The dynamics are there, where there's not Tekkens, there's not sideboards, there's very much a clan structure, and whatever happens, happens. You can have fun in that. Like one of the biggest things, and I've had a lot of conversations. I get daily messages from people from the West, the East, the Central. I've talked to a lot of people in person. This past weekend, I had a chance to go to Indiana and participate in the tournament. I observed more than anything, and I got to see how people reacted and did things. But I had great conversations about the state of the game, and people are looking forward. We don't know what's going to happen going after June. Like, it's beautiful and idea. Like, it's just great. But we're getting so many new things and so many new mechanics and so many new concepts that it's like scary good. And for those who know, like, like when you look at like Magic and things like that, every set offers different dynamics. If you play Yu-Gi-Oh, you just wait for the next big thing and keep playing. Whereas for now, the Stride mechanic and the Generation Booster, Bushiroad has now allowed us to go, here's old stuff that actually is relevant again. So your value of your older cards has gone up. And people, I think, are excited for that, because you're seeing an investment that was never intended, but it's back. Who would have ever thought Tsukiyomi, the ride chain, would ever go back up to 120, 130 bucks? And and that's another thing on my list here, and we can kind of go into that, is like people are freaking out, like, oh God, you're hyping up a card and my price is going up. It's like, good that your card value is going up. Good that a card, Immortal Ashura Kaiser, which was no more than $5, is actually deemed worthy again. Like, think of it from that standpoint. Stop being selfish in the respect that it goes, oh, now I got to fork out $10, $15 for a card. Like, stop that. The card is good again. Like, it should go up in price. Not every card should go skyrocketing, but a fact that we now have an ability to take older cards at a point in our game and make them a viable, valuable option again is remarkable. No game, I think, could ever do that unless they actually directly said, here's the older support, like they do maybe in Yu-Gi-Oh, where they go, okay, we're going to bring black Toons, which is recent. But even that, it doesn't stop people from they're still having those investments again, where they keep reprinting their cards. With us, we don't have that really. We have only a couple cards that get reprinted. So to have cards go up in value is a good thing. Like, it is a natural, healthy thing in our game. So people stop freaking out that card prices are going up. Like, it is needed. It is needed to take this game serious. If the world is going to look upon us, the card fighting community, that aspect is needed for anyone who ever wants to take this game serious. If I go to a tournament and I see people looking at our game going, oh, what's that? It's called Card Fight Vanguard. It is a very one-dimensional game in many ways, but if we now have older cards from older sets, if you buy a box of set 1 or something like that, you can open it up and there's still money cards into it. It's out of print and there's still money cards. Good. So anyone who makes an investment now can generally find profit back in a box. The new cards are coming out. They'll probably be pretty cheap for the most part. You can still make an investment. It is good and it's healthy to have cards go up in price like this. And I've had several people go, oh, I can't believe, someone bought all the cards or whatever. And you know who I'm talking about. We know we're talking about Robbie Cole. And he's doing nothing that none of you couldn't do. Oh, card of the day is Ashura Kaiser. Go buy your Ashuras. Hold on to them for a little bit. Wait for closer to the set to come out and then sell them. He's not doing anything groundbreaking, folks. He's not doing anything cheating. He's not doing anything bad. He looked at a bunch of deck lists that is available to everyone online and goes, that card is worth something. It's going to be good for the meta. I'm going to go and buy it. Anyone can do what he has done. It is remarkable to think that people get upset about this. And I've seen posts, I've commented in the posts, and it's laughable, because you as a community have no advantage that he doesn't have. It's the investment, again, that you make into this community that allowed him to take advantage of it. No more, no less. You follow Japanese meta, you would have saw it happening. And a lot of people do, and they just maybe not have the money to do it. Well, okay. But again, just buying a couple of them makes a world of difference. Like, I love when people are like, oh, I only need a Ragnarok. I'm going to buy a box. I'm going to hope to pull it. Just buy the Ragnarok. Your investment, your money is more profitable if you just have the card you need. So again, if you're looking at individual singles and you're looking at what's going on in the state of the game, just buy what you need and don't worry about it. If you want to try to play the market, if you want to try to see, Murakumo's getting a possible revival unit of Magusta Storm, go buy your Magusta Storms right now. And then when a card gets released and they go, oh, it's a Magusta Storm Revival Legion, not confirmed, just saying, you've already played the game. You've already been ahead of the system. You've already now have made a profit, because the moment that happens, the entire community is going to go, oh my God, I get to go and now make money off of this. And people are going to go quickly buying them. And it is one of those things what I find so unique and so that anyone can do it. No one ever, I think, in their right mind would have thought Shura Kaiser would have got a stride lead. And you see these people now posting all their photos like, oh, I got them all. Good for you. I'm proud. I'm proud that you kept that card, or you were able to capitalize on it, because it's good. That's all I got. I think begrudging people because they've played the game, had the card, or know how to play the game and saw this coming is an entirely different mentality that our community just needs to stop whining. We need to stop bitching about every little detail. We need to actually start taking these opportunities and making them for yourselves. Only you can take these opportunities and make them better for you. Like, it's so hard to sit there and people come to me every day. I get a dozen plus messages about how I don't know what deck to build, or I don't want to spend a whole lot of money. I'm new at this game. Can you help me? Why is it so hard to find these cards? Like, they're out of print. There's 1,001 options. But you, again, if you just read, you read what's going on, you have 1,000 times a better opportunity to doing better in this community, in this game. Just simply as reading. When Prismy came out, the box topper, people are traded and bought and got as much as they could for that, because the card is so good. And it's brand new. It's never been out. Like, everyone should have stockpiled that card. And with cards like coming up right now, we got Blizza coming out very soon here. Easily a $15-$20 card coming out. You need one of it to be successful in your decks. We're going to have Springfest here. You have the ability to cash in those coupons. Everyone should be trying to do that as much as possible, getting that card, because it is going to be a viable option in people's side extra decks. And the problem is, the moment it comes out, people are going to be like, oh my God, it's $20. I can't afford that. Well, it's coming out. You should expect the worst. A Flower Screen is a card I will be heavily wanting, and I know it's going to be a hard card to get. I anticipate paying a good portion of money for it. And you as a community will probably sit there and go, I can't believe that card is that high. I don't want it anymore. So that now even drives it worse, because less people are not going to get it. And it's going to create problems for everyone. And there's going to be fewer and fewer. But the right people will get it. And Sword Me, I did mean Sword Me. I'm saying a thing. Sorry, Prismy is the other stupid line. I've done that twice now in the last week. But you as a community need to start looking at these opportunities and start going, the other day I was deemed a prophet because I guessed cards. I didn't do anything no one couldn't do. I looked at it and saw the trend, and I have a list of cards right now that I still believe are going to be deemed the cards that are going to come out. And today was Bermuda Duo Prism. Who would have thunk? It's, there's no other options other than that, especially with duos. They have so many options. I think when it also comes down to a competitive scene and a competitive scene that our community offers, it's something that it just drives me crazy is people freaking out about people who net deck. What is wrong with net decking? Like, I don't understand. I've had people net deck my Musketeer deck. I'm flattered. I sat down and figured it out. I sat down and played for months and tried to figure out the best optimal build for what I view as a second tier, 3-tier clan, and made it into a competitive deck. If someone wants to take my deck and follow it, by all means. When I say Martina's bad, it's because I've done the math, I've done the structure, I've done the work to make sure that I have had the best build. Flat out. And so when someone takes my deck and plays it, I'm very happy. Then you read about someone who posts their deck online, and then someone goes, oh my God, I can't believe you did a deck profile. 1,000 people are going to follow your deck, and they're not original. Why build a better wheel Like, why build a better mousetrap? If you have something that's so good and so viable, why wouldn't you want that? Like, when you go and play, when you go buy a car, there's the 2014 model, there's the 2015 model, and there's the 2016 model. Which model, if you had no price, would you build? The newest and best one. So when you see someone's deck build that goes, oh, I'm winning, I'm doing really well, I'm doing very well, you're going to want that build. Like, I don't understand why people have this idea that you can't net deck. And our community is the worst about it. Yu-Gi-Oh, people sit there and wait for it. Magic, you sit there and you go, there's 1,001 deck list, and here's the one that's done recently well. Here's the one that's been doing well with the variants, and you follow it. Magic, or Vanguard, is the only game where we shun net deckers, where we're just so just so appalled that someone net decks someone. And the funny thing about it is, it's Vanguard. There is like 1 to 2 builds that you can do with a certain thing that when it comes out. Legitimately, yeah. There's Tekkens, which Tekkens are, again, a preference, but sometimes they do very well. I just don't get it. I don't know why our community freaks out about people following someone's winning deck. Never should be an issue. We should be like, almost like, thank you for paving the way so I can have a better build. So I can have a chance to going to these tournaments, ARG, Yu-Gi-Oh, Vanguard Nationals, and I'm going, thank you. I have a competitive deck list that I didn't have to sit there and kind of go crazy over trying to figure out how it's. I just kind of was like, here's the good build, play it. Now you're like, well, that doesn't offer any variety. Well, no, that's the point of clans, and that's the point of different decks. That is the point. Like, you can build a Grand Blue deck and have your Grand Blue deck. If you feel it's the best, go play it. That's it. But if you play and you're trying to be competitive and someone's done the work for you, I don't see the problem with that. We need to get out of that mentality. We need to stop thinking that net decking is wrong. Anyone who's done the work for you and is willing to sit there and test for hours on end, thank you. Thank you so much. Because I personally thank you for doing something that I am incapable of doing. I know many people, one of my best friends in the entire world is like, just tell me what's winning and tell me what deck to win. And that's fine. And if you want to be the innovator, if you want to be the person who's designing these great decks, do it. Sit down for hours on Area and play and figure it out, because that is awesome. I applaud you for doing that, but it's not who I am. I'm going to say, okay, what's the best build, and play it. And it's just because I don't have time to do it. And I sat there and did it with Musketeers because I love it. And the other day I made a post again in the Vanguardians group going, I'm very glad that I played this deck. Like, for those who don't know, I play Musketeers, and like I said, I sat down for a long time and figured it out and figured out what was best. People win with my build. People have done very well with my build. People who play my build are annoyed by my build, and not annoyed because of how stupid it could be or things like that, but about how efficient it is, how producing results it has done. And it's just one of those things where it's like, when I say that, I sat down and took the time to make this deck competitive. I sat down and said, well, what's the best optimal build? And that was my statement. I kind of left it vague because I wanted to see what people would respond with. And like, some person responded like, oh, I'm going to do really well with Murakumo. Well, that any deck win mentality I've always celebrated and supported. But you also have to do the work for it. You also have to put in the time to make it that any deck can win mentality. You can't just be handed an OTT deck and go here and win. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, that is bad as well. And it's shocking to see that people don't know what card effects do or what happens with certain aspects. Like, it is really scary. Like, I went to a tournament and the guy played a card and he didn't know what his own card did. And I'm just sitting here going, well, did you build this deck today? Like, I'm trying to like fish it out of him. And he goes, no, I just don't play a lot. Okay, understandable. Completely understand. Here's what you should have done. You should have played a couple before the thing. You should sit down and read your cards. You should sit down and know what your cards do. If you're going to go to a competitive scene, make it happen. Like, make yourself up. Go, I'm going in today to win. You might not, but At least you tried. Saying you tried is better than ever saying you couldn't. Couldn't is failure in my mind. I didn't want to is failure. Trying is optimal for winning, because every time you fail, you're one step closer to winning. I was never a successful player. I don't pretend to be a great player. I just go out there and do what I have to do. I did it, though, with the deck that I've chosen, and no matter how many times I've lost, I took my loons, licked them clean, and got back up. For the any deck win mentality, it needs to stop from the perspective that you just think you're going to win. You need to prove to yourself that you're a good player and win with that deck. I think that's what separates this any deck can win mentality. Well, I'm going to make any deck win mentality. You as the individual and player will actually make that deck win. I've always said a deck is 50% of the winning image. The other 50% comes down to luck and variance and you as the individual. If you can read cards and have a general game understanding, you will do well. Those who play this game and who do very well, like a friend of mine who I've known is Kevin Cho. He's took second place at Worlds. Anyone watching, if he's watching or anyone seeing is connect him, to me, he's by far one of the best players in the game because he can take any deck, understand it, and play it. And it's not because he's luckier, because the game is luckier. He has a general understanding how to guard, how to do math, how to play a game. Like, you just don't play just, oh, I'm lucky. No, if you're into this game to be competitive, you have a general understanding of how games work. Someone like Robbie Cole, who, again, he comes from a Yu-Gi-Oh background, but he has a great understanding of the game, a game mentality, how games should be ran, how games are formulated. If you can do that, if you can take that mentality and be successful with it, you can play any game. You can walk away going, you may not be the best, but you can play the game and you can win and you can do very well. And you as an individual, you as a person, can take any game as long as you understand game mechanics and game analogy and game analysis. I was talking to my friend William Cole, Mr. Justice, and we had a nice car ride home, and we sat and talked. We talked about just the state of things. People just take our game for granted almost, I think, in many ways, because they're just playing and they're thinking, oh, I'm playing this card. I'm riding, of course, the spec dude. I'm riding this card, and I'm hoping to drive check 8 crits, 2 crits, 4 crits. Crits, though, are the way it is won. The game is won. It is also what happens to your setup. You as an individual, how you play, how you analysis your person, how you maintain the knowledge that when they drive check, what they have kept in their hand, how many cards, variants, and all these things are taken into consideration. And when you look at it, and when you actually sit down and look at what's going on, there's so much more to this game than the shiny cards. There's so much more that you as a person have to comprehend. And it's scary in the respect of our game now having more and more and more options and variants that more and more and more you have to know. So start retaining the knowledge, start looking at it and really understanding it. I can't be more optimistic about what's going forward and what this game can happen with it. But at the same time, we as the individuals need to start taking it serious. And I think our leaders, our community leaders, the admins of North and Vanguardians, do a somewhat decent job of stressing this issue. Well, most of us. And it's not a joke. I'm tired of seeing bad deck builds. I'm tired of seeing people giving bad advice. I'm tired of holding my tongue because I have to be nice to everyone. I'm tired of sitting here and seeing someone go, here's my great nature deck build. I've done well on area with it. Okay, cool. Now, how many times did you test that deck? How many times did you lose with that deck? How many times did you win with that deck? The best example I heard someone say the other day is, I played my Angel Feather deck versus Dodex 100 times, and I won once. All of a sudden, that makes it a deck good? No. When you've tested every option, when you've tested every possibility against every meta deck, and you have had a winning record, then the deck is good. But I hate seeing people give bad advice. I hate seeing people run 16 crit when you're a novice player, when you're a beginner. Run 16 stands. No. You as an individual need to figure out your own own builds and things for the most part, unless again someone has presented you that beautiful option of here's your great deck and run with it. But for the most part, people give bad advice. I see it. I don't comment. It's hard to sit there and go, as an admin of these groups, to sit here and go, you're a dumbass because you're giving bad advice. You're now passing on your bad advice. You're spreading it like a disease. And I don't want to say cancer because it's not the worst thing in our community to do, but you're spreading bad advice. You're making people dumb. And and when you explain, and I sit there and watch your deck profiles and you explain, you're not even explaining it correctly. Like, it is really hard to sit there and say that some of our members are doing what's good for the community when they're literally just doing the opposite. If you're going to do a deck profile, great. But if you're going to sit there and say you're the best at it and you've perfected it, I want to see results. I want to see it like Monday morning on my desk at 6 a.m. because I can't sit here and tell you enough that I've seen people say, oh, how great they are, but only fall and disappear from this community as quickly as they run their mouth. And it's bad. It's bad when we, the admins, the community, allow people like that to exist. And you as these people in this community, I'm not saying call people out. I'm not saying people should but you got to take everything we read with a grain of salt. Test it. Just don't go and invest into it. Test it first. See how it does. And then and only then I think you will actually determine what is best for you as the player. If you think 16 crit's the way to go, by all means, run 16 crit. I can see now people are talking about it, 16 crit for life, but it's not the way to go. You need heals, and especially in this form of the game with triple drive checks and things like that. Just let's have some common sense. The other thing I want to talk about, and I'm looking through my list, is judges and rules. We've entered a state where I can't believe everything. There's rulings for a lot of things that we never expected. When this first game came out, it was very simple. Stand, draw, people don't do. Reveal drive checks correctly, people don't do. And it was hard to formulate those rules and get people to think that you have to do these. And they're like, well, why? The game state doesn't change. It doesn't matter if the game state doesn't change. It's a rule. It's in the book. You follow the rules. You play the game correctly. And it only makes you better to stand, draw, and continue playing the correct way. Other rules that have come out, we don't have the answers to. Then you have people in the community who all of a sudden just think they're gods and know the rules. And it's really sad because half the time they're either wrong or half the time we don't have a clear answer. And you're almost like brainwashing the community because you just feel that that's what you feel is the best answer. And even myself, who I've judged for Bushiroad, I've done things with ARG, I don't like giving answers. Like, unless I can hear 100 confirmed answer from someone from the higher ups, from the Bushiroad Empire and things like that, I don't like to do it. Because again, if my word is wrong, 1,000 of you will believe it. And you just all say, well, Mingham said, the Butler said, and I've had that happen. And it's scary because it's how quickly you attach yourselves to the words that I speak on ruling matters that I really don't know. And I don't pretend to be an expert. I like to hear and have it analyzed and understand why. I don't want to sit there and interpret it for myself. I know some great people who can do that, and I trust their opinions on it. And if you ever want a ruling, I generally send you to different people to do that things. But I'm really tired of all these new things that come out, and all of a sudden everyone's an expert. When did you become an expert? You can't even win a match. Like, I don't understand how that mentality has just taken over where and people can read the rules and basically come and go, this is how it's supposed to happen. And that's good. You've now identified the ruling and everything. But then there's others like, well, no, because I say so. What? Who are you? What authoritative figure are you in this community? As far as you know, there is no there's only one judge that I trust, and that's JD. If you ever have a question, that's the guy to go to. That's the guy you need to Facebook. Stop asking us as the community ruling questions. Go to the Wikipedia. If you don't find it there, go to Bushiroad. That is one of the biggest things that I have is like when people don't understand things or like, oh, what's in the next set? Did you try the Wikipedia? Did you try to go to these things? Did you try going to Bushiroad's website? The amount of laziness that sometimes we have too is just ridiculous. You have to be successful. You have to know things. everyone's like, when we did the whole spec dupe thing and people bought it, and I don't even understand how. Like, there was no evidence. As jokingly as we were, there was no evidence, no link, no official anything. Just people just assumed it was happening with no evidence. Gullible is not written on the ceiling, folks. You have to do some research. You have to go Google, blah, 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 blah. And when nothing pops up and you can't find a trace of evidence, maybe not be right. But you as a community got to stop believing everything someone says. And I'm not just saying as we as admins and things like that, but I've seen people who go, oh, because Tom something said, so that's the reason it is. You know how many times I get that? My friend told me this, and so I'm going to believe it. Who are they on the retrospective things that happen in our community? There's very few people I trust in this community with rulings. And if you want to know who my list is, feel free to individually message me. I will tell you who I feel is best qualified to answer any questions if you can't get a hold of Bushiroad. And I feel that is the best way to go about that. And no. People are not be dumb. Okay, it is not about being dumb. It is about people, again, just deciding, because there are no leaders in this community, there are no authoritative figures in this community, that they will just take that mantle. I said a few weeks ago that this group needed a Patrick Hoban. This community needed a Patrick Hoban. I was immediately met with restraint, people resisting the idea that was, or assuming that was a bad idea. When I say we need a Patrick Hoban, I don't mean we need this guy from Yu-Gi-Oh! To come over to us. We need more community members like what he does. Analyze the game, talk about the game, make healthy discussion for the game, write articles about the game, actually be a respected member of this community in this game because he is good for it. So we need people like that. We need more people who are actually mentally qualified to actually analyze this game and actually do things that are for the betterment, right? By writing articles, talking about why certain things. Like I remember when Quintet Walls came out, there was actually healthy discussion if these were good or not. Like, that was great. Like, and now we sit here and talk about the new Perfect Guard, the unflips. I personally feel they're not that great. As idealistically as it is good, you have an unflip. But the ability not to guard your rear guards in some scenarios is very, very bad. And again, it all turns on the meta. It all comes around what happens in the meta. But I'm telling you right now, if Laurel stays at 4 next month, I will be running non-unflipping Perfect Guards for going forward, because I do not want him to hit anything. And if you're attacking my rear guard and I only got 5 cards in hand and I got a Perfect Guard, I'm going to Perfect Guard that rear guard. And again, people have to look at it from that respect. Everyone runs them as if there's some golden thing, and oh no, I don't know what's going on here. But you need to look at the state of the game and what is good for it, and people need to make those decisions from a standpoint, and sit there and say that, speak out that certain things are bad, and you might be met with some resentment. But again, I personally say that today, and I'm sure it's going to freak out. Like, I'm flipping Pan, I can't believe it. Like, again, right now in our current state of things, Dode X hits my rear guard. I can't Perfect Guard it. And I would rather lose the +2 than have him restand. Where, the good players I saw were running this past weekend were running the non-unflipping Perfect Guards for the decks that you could. So, with that being said, I really want to get down to my final thing. I've been going on for about 40 minutes here, and I tried to say this was not going to last very long. I've seen a lot of comments going up here and people talking, and I'm very happy. I've hit about 50 people viewing this stream, and what I want to talk about finally is, and I touched on it briefly, was defining the meta. I spoke about this very much for a long time with things like Buddy Fight, and how we as the individuals, we have a chance now to really change this game for the better. Will we grab the brass ring and do that, though? Will we as individuals start stepping up and start making better calls in our community? I can't even tell you how much It needs to happen. We as individuals, we really need to start looking at what is best for the community. And we need to stop being a little selfish. We need to stop thinking that this game should be completely 100% about fun. There's a perfect balance. Put them together. Make it so it's both. You as a community can do this. We need to break away from this game is just fun, because it will not survive. If you think this game is just for fun, the game will not continue to survive, because people will stop buying it, stop investing into it. You need to start thinking of it from the competitive nature. We now have competitive scenes. Our locals all around us are starting to take it more serious. I've seen people coming back to bringing it back, like actually having fun with Vanguard. Like, it's getting to the point where the game is unpredictable, and unpredictable is good. And I think we as individuals can do that. I think we as a community can invest heavily and go forward and actually make this game something where it will be a long-lasting game, and we will always continuously have it around and enjoy it. But again, the fun aspect, the non-competitive aspect, it's got to stop. We got to have both. We have to have both. We need to survive. And the only way we're going to do that is by having a fun, competitive atmosphere. It does not have to be like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic when I say competitive. It has to be both. And you and the individuals watching, you, the 49 that are currently indulging me and need to take my words today and hopefully really think about them. I think, like, where do we want our game to go? We're finally in a state where we have control. My closing remarks overall is I feel that if you are watching, you care. And if you care, what you need to do is spread the word of this message that the game is changing for the betterment. If you truly are invested, if you truly feel that you agree with my words, if you agree with what I've said here today, share this video, talk about it, put in your locals, talk about it with the people who play this game. Talk about what you think can be done to make it better. By doing this, by just talking about it, whether it be on a stream, whether it be in a group, whether it be on North, Vanguards, any of it. Just simply going and saying, I want to see my game survive. And I think you'll see a giant change in the mentality of our game. And that's what needs to change. The mentality of where we want this game to go. It can be fun and competitive. But those who are just playing it for fun are hurting it more, because what they're not doing is thinking of the longevity of it. They're not looking at what we need to do to survive. we finally are there. We're there, guys. We're literally ready to take off and do some great things. But you as the community need to help us bring it forward and taking into this year and actually change the state and mentality of this community. And I can't say that enough. If you agree with what I say, share this video. Talk about it. It's simple as clicking share, liking it, commenting, talking about it within our community. Stop pretending that there's not an issue. There is an issue. It's an underlying issue that we all have seen in this community, that people do not take this game serious. And the reasons I've stated here today are why. We got to stop becoming the whiners. We need to start doing I posted this too. It's like, don't ask what your Vanguard community can do for you. Ask what you can do for your Vanguard community. That mentality is what we should be having. We need to step our game up. And no pun intended on that, but that's exactly what it is. I've spoken for almost 45 minutes. I hope in my closing statement here, you'll do what I've said. Take this forward, discuss it, post it in groups, post it in your locals, talk about it. Think of ways that we can better this group, this community, this whole idea that we are sitting here not doing what we need to do to make this game better. It's kind of like we just want the answers to unfold in front of us. And community members like myself, Robbie Cole, Mason Clark, Brendan Rodriguez, Tommy Allen, we can only do so much. We can only do so much. And the true way to get things done is through you as the individuals and you trying to help us make this better. I say good luck. I say thank you for watching. If you truly want to see our game survive, you'll spread this and you will try to do as much as possible to help this game community because it is needed. I don't think we're out of the fire yet. So again, thank you so much for watching and have a good night.